5 years ago, this month, March, is the 5-year COVID anniversary. 5 years ago, we started with 40 clients and got them approved for the COVID EIDL. Take it away.
As a way of commemorating the COVID anniversary, we're going to present to you a series of videos. Some of them will talk about basics about the EIDL program that you need to know as a borrower who owes that debt, and some of them will be responses to comments we get here on YouTube. Cut. If your business got a COVID-19 EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan from the SBA, this video is for you. I'm going to address a comment we got recently on one of our YouTube videos about a business that has struggled since the pandemic and is having issues with closing down the business. Before I launch into my tirade and my discourse and my discussion, could you take a moment to like and subscribe to the video? You'd be surprised to find out that more than 70% of the folks who watch these videos are not subscribed. Hit the like button, share the video with somebody you know who might find this interesting, considering hitting the bell for notifications. We don't do a lot of videos, but we hope that you find this information vital enough that you'd like to be notified when we publish a new video. Especially because in the coming weeks is for me to answer YouTube comments from folks like you. And if you've got a comment, if you've got a question, you know what to do with that too. Put it in the comment section below. This is from @ℬ𝒜𝒞𝒦𝒢ℛ𝒪𝒰𝒩, and she says, "Thanks for all you do to help people with this." Smiley face. Well, thank you, Tanya. Linda Ray and I truly appreciate you and all of you loyal subscribers. But you see, the thing is, YouTube tells us that we have to tell you to subscribe. It's a thing. It's called call to action. Okay, Tanya goes on. I have one clarifying question. If my loan was only $4,000, so no personal guarantee, she writes, and my business was an LLC, not a sole proprietor, and the biz has been legally dissolved with the Washington Secretary of State since 2021, is the SBA able to take you to collections or hold back your tax refund, Social Security, etc.? Also, the business has no checking or savings accounts and the business has no assets or collateral. She goes on to say that they, meaning the SBA, claim, in all caps, they can do this to me, said emoji face. Negative reporting to credit bureaus. Tax refunds can be withheld. Loan principal may be taxed as income. Impact future borrowing ability. Okay. As often I like to do with these comments, I want to start from the end, Tanya, and work our way backwards. So let's talk about your last sentence. They, the SBA, claim they can do this to me. Negative reporting to credit bureaus. If you default on a COVID-19 EIDL, if you default on any SBA loan, there is a chance, even if you are protected by what's called the corporate shield of an LLC, because your Social Security number, Tanya, is attached to the loan, there is a chance that in the future, not only could the SBA potentially report a negative credit account on your credit report, but also, more importantly and more likely, is that if you default on a federal debt of any type, including the COVID-19 EIDL, it is likely you would be put on what's called a do not pay list or be mentioned in what's called the CAVERS, or Credit Alert Interactive Verification Retrieval System, which is a system used by federal agencies such as the Federal Housing Administration to determine if somebody is ineligible to participate in a particular government lending or grant or other program. That is really your bigger concern here. And for any business where the loan goes into default, whether you file bankruptcy, close the business, sell assets, pay the loan, if you default on the COVID-19 EIDL, the more likely outcome in your future is that you would be marked and flagged internally, both at the SBA and in other federal systems, such as the Do Not Pay or the CAVERS system, which means that in the future, should you attempt to apply for federal funding of any type, loans or grants, you might be prohibited from participating in that program. But to your question, negative reporting to credit bureaus, we have not seen it. I have seen a bankruptcy on an old SBA 7A loan that appeared on someone's credit report. And we know last year in 2024, with the whole mess that happened with the U.S. Treasury, that one of our small business clients who owned a restaurant in Los Angeles, whose loan was sent incorrectly, in our opinion, to the U.S. Treasury for collections, she was contacted by a private collection agency on behalf of the United States Treasury to collect the debt. And she told me and sent me a copy of her online credit report to show me that this debt appeared on her credit report. Now, because she used a consumer report, I couldn't really tell who the reporting source was. In the credit reports that we run here at Aurora Consulting, we use real credit reports, such as you would get in the mortgage industry or at the SBA. And in those types of credit reports, I can see the source of any reporting creditor that appears on someone's credit report, such as if it's a judgment, I can see the court that it was filed. If it was a bankruptcy, I can see the bankruptcy court, White Plains, New York, like that. But with the consumer report that this client sent to me, all I could see was that a debt was reported. But the way it was reported, it looked to me, in my opinion, like it had been placed there by the private collection agency, not by the United States Treasury, not by the Small Business Administration. So again, we have not seen it other than that one instance. And again, I believe, in my opinion, that was placed by the private collection agency. Subsequently, we assisted that client to have her loan returned from U.S. Treasury, from collections, using the SBA's Hardship Accommodation program. And if you are not aware, we have a playlist of videos about the U.S. Treasury debacle, which you should watch so that you can avoid winding up in the same position as nearly 1 million COVID EIDL borrowers. You don't want to wind up in the same place that they did. Most of them, in our opinion, happened to find themselves in that position because of SBA's mismanagement of the repayment system. So that's why it's important for you. Watch our playlist of U.S. Treasury videos. And we've also done many videos about the Hardship Accommodation program, how to apply for it, and details that you need to know when interacting with the SBA. But back to Tanya's credit. Negative reporting to credit bureaus. Again, with that client in Los Angeles, we assisted her to have her file returned from U.S. Treasury, and that reporting of the negative debt on her credit report disappeared. It was withdrawn from her credit report some months after the loan was returned to the SBA for proper servicing. I hope that answers your question. I know it's complicated, right? My answer is complicated. It seems like it might be all over the place. Do you know why it's complicated? Because everything about the SBA is complicated. That has been our experience with the SBA since March of 2020, 5 years of complications. And mind you, I worked in the mortgage business for 30 years on federal government loans, and regulations were dense, and you needed to know them and study them and read them. And there could be all kinds of nuances in different, areas, whether it was an appraisal on a house or somebody's credit history or someone's income qualifying. But it wasn't complicated beyond the professional expertise. I am a professional in the lending sphere, and for 5 years, I have said this time and again. Everything about the SBA is complicated, notably because, in my opinion, our Congress has failed to properly support you small business owners by properly funding the Small Business Administration to hire better quality people, to train people. We know for a fact that SBA training is notoriously horrible for SBA loan specialists and other staff. Okay, Tanya goes on to say, and this is the last sentence of the comment, she says, they, meaning the SBA, claim they can do this to me. Negative reporting credit bureaus, tax refunds can be withheld, loan principal may be taxed as income, impact future borrowing ability. The blanket statement about that is required of the SBA to tell you, much as when you call your mortgage company or interact with your credit card company, you will see that phrase. This is an attempt to collect a debt, because by federal law, all lenders are automatically considered debt collectors, including the SBA for the COVID EIDL program, which is only one of two programs where the SBA is direct lender. The other one is the disaster loan program. Other SBA programs are the lender in other SBA programs is a bank approved by the SBA to lend. And the SBA does not lend that money as much as it guarantees it against risk for the bank, secures it against debt defaults and so forth. But in terms of direct lending, because the SBA is a direct lender on the COVID EIDL program, they are required by federal law to make statements like this of what could happen if you fail to pay this federal debt. Does that mean they're going to undertake all of these actions? No, it does not, which lets me go right to the next sentence before that. Is the SBA able to take you to collections or hold back your tax refund, Social Security, etc.? Only if your defaulted loan goes into collection status at the U.S. Treasury. Currently, the SBA does not have any mechanism internally to act as a collection agent on the COVID EIDL loans. For collections activity, the SBA has to transfer your loan over to the United States Treasury under what's called the Treasury Offset Program, or TOP, which is what we saw last year in 2024, where the SBA sent over 860,000 loans into TOP. And in that case, the United States Treasury's collection arm manages that debt collection. Many of those debts the Treasury will assign to private collection agencies. They're not selling the debt to the collection agency, because that would be an egregious error and an egregious violation of federal rules for a variety of reasons. And I'm pointing to the congressman from Texas who has been demanding that the SBA sell debts from the COVID program to private collection agencies, where he completely ignores this federal regulation that says a federal agency, in order to protect taxpayer money, cannot sell debt for a loss. And private collection agencies do not buy debt unless they're getting at a discount, meaning, they'll pay 30 cents on the dollar. So if the SBA were to, at the direction of this particular congressman, who is now the chairman of the House of Representatives Small Business Committee, he has been demanding this. And if the SBA were to undertake this procedure, the taxpayer would be on the hook for the remaining money, right? So if a private collections agency buys a COVID EIDL debt for 30 cents on the dollar, the American taxpayer, that's you, is going to have to pony up the other 70%, because the SBA and the United States Treasury is not allowed by federal regulation to take a haircut, as they say, to take a discount, sell debt at a discount. Okay. Going back to your question, your statement, the SBA cannot act as the collection agency only if they have assigned the debt to the U.S. Treasury offset program. Now, more to the point for ℬ𝒜𝒞𝒦𝒨 is her opening statements here. My loan was only $4,000, so there's no personal guarantee. That's important because for all loans, $200,000 or less, there is no personal guarantee. For loans of $200,000, $1 or greater, there is a personal guarantee aspect for all business owners, regardless if there's a corporate shield, such as an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp. And the reason I'm being so particular about $200,000,001 is because some knucklehead in our comments called me out on that and said that I was wrong. And the person was right, that I was wrong, but they were really rude about it. And they really ignored the fact that we do lots of these videos. And from time to time, I might confuse something, such as I do a lot of hardship accommodation videos and advice to clients. And there's an issue there. Again, I said it before, with SBA, everything's complicated. So Tanya, you have no personal guarantee. That is correct because your loan was only $4,000. Next, you indicate that your business was an LLC. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Next, you indicate the business has been legally dissolved. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. You put in parentheses here, the biz has no checking or savings account and the business has no assets or collateral. Well, because your loan is less than $25,000, it doesn't matter if the business had collateral, because for COVID EIDLs, $25,000 or less, there is no collateral requirement. Can somebody from the SBA bluster and bluff and say to you, yeah, we're going to seize things? They can say that because, they're debt collectors. Debt collectors, if you have no experience with collection agencies, they'll say all kinds of outrageous things. Not all of it is true. In fact, most of it is false. Check the Federal Trade Commission website if you want better information on how to protect yourself as a consumer from debt collectors. The stuff you will read there about your rights will blow your mind. And also, keep in mind, if you're a consumer, we are happy to report as of today, which is March 15th when I'm recording this video, that apparently the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is back in action, regardless of some ketamine dope addict who's trying to destroy our federal government, shutting it down and removing the sign from in front of the building. The New York Times is reporting this morning that many people from the CFPB are back in the office working to protect Americans. Now, I want to discuss here, Tanya, my loan was $4,000 and my business was an LLC. This is not legal advice because I am not an attorney. So please consult with an attorney, Tanya, to verify this. But as far as we understand, if your business has been organized in a formal manner, meaning limited liability corporation, an LLC, limited liability partnership, LLP, a C corporation, or other type of formally organized business entity, then you are protected by what's called the corporate umbrella or the corporate shield. It is the corporation, the LLC, Tanya, that is responsible for this debt, not you personally. Please verify that with an attorney. I hope this has answered your question, Tanya. And again, we thank folks for participating in subscribing and liking. And if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to our channel so you can hear other really bizarro stories about how SBA is complicated and how you have to be better than the SBA. As an important note, if you have to interact with the SBA, we created the EIDL Resource Hub to assist you in every aspect. There's a chapter in the guidebook, how to speak to an SBA agent on the phone. There are templates that you can download that I have used for thousands of communications with the SBA, email templates, letters that you can use as templates. The reason we use those templates is because often with small business owners, we see people communicating with the SBA from a position of weakness and frailty and apology and almost begging and mostly storytelling. And what my templates that we have used to assist our clients do is they remove all the junk. So for instance, in a hardship accommodation program request, we've seen people send emails into the SBA that says, "Dear SBA, my partner died in the business and we're not selling as many widgets as we sold in 2019 when we started the business. And then when COVID happened and this happened, and then I rescued 3 puppies and they eat a lot of dog food and that's costing me a lot of money and I need to get lower payments. How can I do that?" I've seen emails like that. And my template will say the following: "To whom it may concern, I hereby request enrollment in the Hardship Accommodation Program for SBA loan number bloom, 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 and the name of the principal owner who's responsible for the loan." That's it. So that's what you get in the EIDL Resource Hub. The expertise and success that we have had assisting thousands of small business owners with the program. If you wish to purchase the Resource Hub, you can click on the link in the description. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe.